Hello everyone and welcome to Suburban Stone Age. I wanted to give you a drought update and show you what it's like. Hopefully on the last day of the historic California drought. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It is September 14th, 2015, and we are expecting a little rain tonight, so that's always good news. But really I just wanted to show you what the garden looks like during drought and the different things that we have done to help conserve water. So as you can see, the most obvious thing here is this used to be grass. We ripped that up in the spring and we put down wood chips until we could figure out something a little more decorative to do, or not. But that's how it's been all summer. And that saves a lot of water. We don't need to water for the needs of the lawn. Instead, we water for the needs of the trees. So we do a deep soaking once a week, and everybody seems to be pretty happy with that. Another change is that these garden beds have had no water at all to them since spring. That was one of the things we did, was to cut this entire irrigation circuit off. So these beds are lying idle. They'll usually have vegetables in them, but anything that's there right now, this side of the house is the same. Anything that's there right now is surviving on what it can scavenge as far as water. This kale kind of won't die. It's been here for 2 years now. And if it can hang, then I'm going to let it live, but I'm not giving it any additional water. Same with the artichoke and the ornamental sweet potatoes. So again, on this side too, we removed the lawn and put in bark chips. The little bit darker bark chips were part of last year's project, where we removed most of the lawn, but not all of it. Then we went back this year and we removed the rest. So, you know, everybody's doing pretty good. This is a loquat tree, and those are Jerusalem artichokes that are blooming, peach trees. We have a persimmon there on the parkway, nectarine. That twig you see is a nectarine tree that didn't make it this year. Sunflowers, more Jerusalem artichokes. And then what you can't really see, maybe there you can, are the walking onions. And then in the parkway, that's one half of it. The other half's down the road a little bit, like on the other side. But in the parkway, we have some comfrey and we have some yarrow and pomegranates. And there is a fuyu persimmon right there. And actually I'll cut to the other side so you can see that too. Okay, so here we are on the other side of the yard, and this is the pomegranate, which is doing exceptionally well. It's a great tree for us because it seems to be able to handle our climate really well. It's got a nice little, pretty little crop of pomegranates ready to go. The kids love the pomegranates, the neighbor kids, so we give them some every year. So that's doing well. Butterfly bush down there. And then in the main part of the yard, we have lavender, strawberries. That there is a Fuji apple that seems quite happy. This is its second year. I planted it last year, so it's getting established. Has a couple apples on it. What else do we have? A little maple tree that I rescued, some native hummingbird sage, and we have that thing right here is a groundnut. Anyway, it's from the east, and the Indians used to use it for food. So it's a little tuber, and I threw it in the ground last year as an experiment, and it lived and has been thriving this year, so yay. Aloe vera for medicine, and another California native. This is a native fuchsia. And of course, ratty looking calendula that needs to probably get ripped out and reseeded. So that's that for the front. Been pretty darn dry. Oh, and this fig monster is doing really good. The fig seems to be quite adaptable too. So, comfrey, that's a pink lady apple tree that's trying to get established. I picked the worst year ever to try to get new trees in the ground. These little gator bags, the tree gators, have worked very, very, very well keeping trees alive. So it puts what little water that we do use right where we need it around baby trees. And then of course borage, which just does its own thing. Some more aloe vera. etc., etc. I think we might even have a little parsnip here. That guy. Anyway, so that's the front yard. I just wanted to, like I say, document what it looks like in 2015. This is 4.5 years. Suburban Stone Age is now 4.5 years old, little over. We've gone through some very dry years. So my hopes are that I'll be able to look back in greener years and see what's been able to change. Okay, so here we are in the backyard, and I'm just gonna say it right now, the backyard is a total mess. I've been rearranging everything, doing a lot of digging, not been cleaning up. It's been kind of muddy, and I try to make things pretty when I take videos, but you know what, I just got home from work, and I figure you guys, we've known each other long enough, you can just see my messy side. So this is the backyard, and so what's kind of interesting and new this year is I'm experimenting with hugelkultur. So the stone-lined berm in the background was my first. It's like a swale basically, but there's logs buried underneath it and compost too. And then I just put the stones on there because I didn't have the straw yet. And I'll probably, I don't know, leave them there until I can get another bale torn apart. And then I recently built the next one. So this one again has a giant buried log underneath with other logs, and then I mounted dirt and put in all kinds of comfrey leaves and everything in there to compost. And then this one I mulched with straw, which the chickens absolutely adore. They get in there and scratch it all up. And then what's difficult to see because they scratch the straw up, and by the way, that's why the wire's on the top, is to kind of discourage them from scratching. I doubt it'll work though. Anyway, so I dug a trench at the bottom of this hugelkultur so it could hopefully trap more water and become like a swale. And then downhill from this, so we're facing downhill, this is to the east, I have a apricot, and then that is a plum, so it's a Katy apricot and a Satsuma plum, and then that is a blood orange. No, strike that. It's a Cara orange, that little stumpy guy with the bag on it. And I've had that little orange for 2 years, but it struggled the whole time. So hopefully we're going to turn a corner. Usually though, in a good year, this entire area that's dirt right here is chock full of vegetables. It's my main garden area. And not this year though. There's just no water to spare. So I've let it stay dry, and instead I've focused on doing like infrastructure improvements, so putting in swales, trying to capture rainwater, improvements like that. A little composter bin and the chickens. So here's my original garden. This one's 15 years old, and it's a raised bed that my dad helped me build, and it's always been an organic garden. So in it, again, this is usually chock full of vegetables. But right now there's just a passion vine, and that's pretty much it in this space. Tonight, before it rains, I'm going to throw down some wheat and see if we can try growing wheat this winter. But I don't know if the chickens will get it or the bugs will get it. It's an experiment, so we'll see. So here along the back fence, we had this fence put in last spring. It used to be a wooden fence, but we had it replaced. I recently just put up this wattle fence made from bamboo from over by the gazebo. There's a little compost house which I kind of drag around and haven't really put to good use, but it's living here presently. And then I have 2 cherry trees, and back there kind of swamped over by the Jerusalem artichokes is an almond. So Jerusalem artichokes were planted all along this back fence, basically almost all the way to the end. But Roxy, the dog, loves to run back and forth across the fence, so she's snapped a bunch of them. See, there she is. She's snapped a bunch of them. Also, I had gourds growing in this space, which I didn't plant. There's still a few left that you can see. The birds planted those gourds, and they grew all by themselves with no irrigation, and I liked them so much, and I grow gourds every year anyway. I figured I'll just leave them. It was kind of a mistake though, because they get so big and so aggressive that they kind of toppled over the Jerusalem artichokes. So I don't think I'll repeat that again next year. I'll put them somewhere else. Here in this little space here is a Garden Prince almond. It's my avocado tree, and then tucked in behind there is Hychia persimmon, which is super duper happy. It's only 2 years old, but it's looking really, really good. In this little water fountain, which has proved to be super important, I'm gonna need to top it up so it flows better, but the wildlife goes absolutely crazy. They take baths in here, and there's so many birds. They drink from it. I try to keep it clean and refreshed every couple days, but it's been a wonderful addition, and I think the birds and animals really like it. And then in this space here, and there's the backside of that swale I was originally talking about, but depending how the water drains this year, I'm hoping we get a lot of rain so I can really watch how the water flows across the property, but I'm going to move this composting bin, and I'm probably going to dig a wildlife pond and line it. So I'm going to observe this winter and then kind of dig as we go. It's going to be a big project, so I have to take it in stages. So here's my hammock where I come chill out and look at my garden and think and all that good stuff. The fire pit. Again, all these bark chips used to be lawn. It was nice. I miss the lawn a little bit. Don't miss the water that it uses, and I don't think it's climate appropriate necessarily, but it did cool the yard down, and it was pretty and green and nice to look at. So it wasn't all bad, but for the sake of the drought, we removed it, put down the bark chips until we could figure out something prettier to do, and I'm just gonna see what happens this winter. And in this little patch, I have a pineapple guava and some gooseberry, some native California currant, a Chinese pistache, which doesn't really do much but look pretty in the fall. Had to have something. Butterfly bush for the butterflies, more comfrey. There's goji berry down there. There's a California milkweed. That's actually a wild one. I collected seeds, and this one sprouted, so I'm hoping to establish a little colony for the monarchs. What else? Let's see. Artichoke over there. That guy's grew itself from somewhere. I don't know where it even came from. And then over here is my little gazebo area, which it needs to be refreshed. It's kind of messy right now, but you can see my gourd harvest that's drying. Whoop, there we go. So some gourds are from last year, but most of the green ones are from this year. And the birds planted them, so that's my harvest for letting the birds do all the work for me. See. Oh, and we have a jujube over in the corner there. The rest are kind of maples. Up here we have a Anna apple tree, a peach tree. It's some kind of a, I think, dwarf. It's a white fleshed fruit. Arctic Star, I think it might be its name. I don't remember, but anyway, rosemary, 2 types, lion's tail. We have some native deer grass, we have some native sages, a lemon tree, orange tree. In the pots there's a century plant, not a century plant, but oh gosh, you see them everywhere. I'm blanking, but anyway, I got that as I inherited that from my mom. So we have my cinnamon tree, and I dug that agave, a century plant, up from the side of the road like 6 years ago, and so it's still hanging in there. In this space we have cherimoya, walking onions again that need to be tended to, lantana and butterfly bush for the butterflies, a Bartlett pear, and my grapevine, which I've just pruned, which you can see all the junk on the ground that I need to clean up. So this is basically it. It's pretty brown, pretty dry. It's still nice, don't get me wrong. It's really, beautiful to come out here and hang out and spend the morning gardening and doing all the things that I like to do. And again, with the drought, instead of growing things, I'm focusing on, moving trellises and building swales and tending the greenhouse and other structural issues. And also on increasing the efficiency of water retention on the property so that when it does rain, we can, you know, keep as much of it as possible. So important. So I hope to look back on this video in the years to come and try to remember how brown it was, because hopefully in future years it will be much more green. And there you have it, Suburban Stone Age, 2015, September, historic California drought. Thanks. Bye-bye.